We find ourselves inside of Alice's dorm room. She is sitting with Adelaide. They are discussing the recent traumatic events that Alice has been experiencing. You see, Miss Addie, I'm not sure what to do. For every night now, I feel something around me when I'm about to fall asleep. It's not your usual, what's the word, when you jolt awake suddenly in your sleep. Somnambulation, said Adelaide, calmly and cool. What's that? Asked Alice. It's the word for what you described. The jolt. It's called somnambulation. At least in the original astral text. Adelaide's mind begins to wander into a crisscross network of thoughts and possibilities. I'm having a hard time keeping up, Miss Addie, said Alice, interrupting Adelaide's stream of consciousness. You see, every night, it's like I'm paralyzed. I've read about this before, but something just seems different. Almost like it's personal. Not just a stranger. Adelaide studied the concern on Alice's face. After a moment, she responded, I want you to talk to Matt. Mr. Forbes. I believe he might have a better understanding of what you are going through, and I'm concerned it's more than your garden variety sleep paralysis demon bastard. Suddenly she stopped and had a flash within her mind's eye. A vision. Confused, Alice asked what was the matter. What made her stop mid-sentence? It was Matt. He is in danger. I can feel it. And I guess now I can sometimes see it. Only a flash, but I feel him. We now cut back to me. Yes, me, Matthew Forbes, the damn saint. I'm still going toe-to-toe with the aristocrat, capital R-A-T, chess champion lunatic Maximus Ducius, Max Hercules, and I were last lunging at each other. Sounded a little more erotic than I intended on playback, but we carry on. Max and I had thrown left and right blows, slashing and twisting our way around the large gymnasium. Some of the students around us were wryly cheering, some were horrified and speechless, and a few appeared to have completely fled the scene. With saber in right hand, Max lunged his foil and clipped my left shoulder. A spurt of my human tomato juice spit up and onto my bicep. It was just the distraction I needed to grab his right wrist with my left hand. His blade was thus frozen. With my blade in my right hand, I slashed slowly his left heel. I then dropped my sword. Balling up my right fist, I came up and swiftly punched him right in the freaking pancreas. He gasped with surprise and discomfort. His sword dropped what seemed like slow motion. Rising up off my left leg, I straightened my body upright as Max first doubled over, then fell backwards in explosive pain. I think that will teach you a lesson. Hercules in mythology was defeated by a poison, not a mortal or a god, but the Hydra's venom. There is a poison inside you, Max. Don't let it destroy you. I don't want your sympathy, Max replied, and came running full speed into me, knocking me to the ground. He raised his left arm up. His fist formed in front of my face, and then, out of nowhere, the door opens, and in walks a man who yells, Maxwell, stop! I was surprised to see the headmaster, Gregory, the man who had recruited me. Pushing Max off of me, I sat up and looked at Greg with thanks. Saved by old St. Gregory again. See, Max? I didn't have to pray to my saints. They always have my back. Max went to move toward me in anger, but two other male teachers held him back and began to walk him out of the gymnasium. Gregory walked up to me with an odd look on his face. You walk a fine line, Matt. We welcome you to our domain, and this is what we get. I'm very surprised, very shocked, but I bet he had it coming. Now go on, get yourself cleaned up. I don't want to hear any explanations. Go on. Before I could say my piece, he shushed me and sent me on my way. I walked back with my torn clothes and my pride still intact. I got back to my dorm room and showered and put on some fresh clothes. I checked to see if Adelaide was in her room across the hall, but she wasn't. I got my papers and books together and, like usual, made my way to the library. I sat for a few hours, and in between grading papers, working on some occult texts I had been trying to decode and just daydreaming, replaying the bizarre events of the afternoon in my mind. Something about the headmaster's reaction to the situation seemed off, something I couldn't quite describe. My intuition was buzzing, but for what I did not yet know. I was lost in thought when I felt a soft feminine hand grip my right shoulder. I looked up to see Adelaide. She walked over and sat at the chair across from me. "Matt, we have to talk. Something is going on. Something is about to happen. I can feel it. Are you okay? I had a weird vision earlier. I'm sorry, I should have called you. It's okay," I interrupted. I was sort of caught up in a duel earlier. I wouldn't have been able to answer anyways. Do you think you were sensing me in danger? That's interesting. I think that's what it was, but there's more going on. I can't explain, but I think you should go to one of the parties Alice was telling me about. I think we should go, so you can talk to her. She's heading there now. I think it's serious enough to warrant you talking to her. Something just isn't right. What she described sounded like more than some ordinary night terrors. I listened carefully, soaking in every word she had to say. I'm not so sure that's a good idea. A party with a bunch of these 20-something-year-olds, isn't that tacky? It doesn't matter. We just need to talk to her for a minute. Plus, we can steal a few drinks, maybe go back to my room and hang out. Maybe go over the books you've been working on. Gotta stay prepared, right? She smiled and laughed shyly, yet comfortably. All right, Adelaide, I'll talk to Alice, but we're only staying for one drink, and we should grab a couple for the road, too. Well, naturally, of course, she said with a quiet laugh. We were in a library, after all. She stood up, and I followed suit. We stood there awkwardly for a moment. Well, all right, I said. When are we going over? Do I have time to drop off my books? No, don't worry about it, she said. We'll jump in my car and head to the party. It's only a few blocks over there off campus. Moments later, we were in Adelaide's car, driving out past the large iron gates out front of the school and down a dark street, taking a right about half-mile down the road. We were pulling up to several large houses on down the street. We pulled up to a large black and white Victorian with many cars parked outside. When we got out of the car, you could hear a slight hum and bump of music happening inside the house. We walked closer and could see youths in their yard talking. I didn't really pay any attention. I just let Adelaide take the lead and find Alice so we could get this over with. I walked over to a counter once we were inside and began finding the right mixings to fix us a couple drinks. I saw a couple beers and slipped them into my work bag. I'd taken the books and papers out, more room for beer. I bet she wouldn't be in a beer mood. I'll save those for myself, so I snagged her a mini bottle of wine. I mean, come on, they're all 20-year-olds who shouldn't be drinking this much to begin with, right? Trust me, I know from experience. I walked around a large, obnoxious sculpture in the middle of the room and found Adelaide sitting with Alice. They were in an enthusiastic conversation. I walked up and handed Adelaide her drink, and Alice looked at me with hesitancy, so I took the lead. All right, Alice, you have as long as it takes me to finish this drink to explain what's going on. Sorry if I'm being brash, but this just isn't my scene. Yeah, you'd rather me surrounded in silence and books, right, Mr. Forbes? Well, actually, it doesn't matter. I'm starting to drink now. So, go. Alright, well, I'm sure you know what sleep paralysis is, but I feel like it's something more. Is there some way you could find out? I'm not sure myself, honestly. I'd have to observe you sleep, or at least be nearby to check on you. I'm sure we could arrange that, Adelaide said. That's up to you, Alice. Why don't you stay in my room tonight? That way we can monitor you throughout the night. Or at least I will, and if something happens I can get Matt's help. Yeah, that's fine, I said. When you're done, come find us there. Well, alright, I'm done with my drink. But I'm not, said Adelaide. Well, hurry up, darling. I'm starting to get the itch to go, I replied. She finished her drink as we made our way out of the house. Don't worry, dear, I have some wine with your name on it in my bag. Why are you getting so sweet to me, huh? Oh, it's just the alcohol. I lost my tolerance since we started working out here, you know? As we strolled along, suddenly 2 masked men in all black clothes ran up and began to push us. They knocked Adelaide down on the ground, and as I went to help her, they pushed me. My bag went flying and I stumbled a little bit. "Okay, punks, who the hell are you?" They didn't say a word. They attacked me from both sides and I tried to fend them off, but they zapped me with some kind of electric wand and I lost my strength for a moment. They picked me up and began running with me in their arms toward an open black van. I was able to loosen my Ankh necklace I had on and unlatch it. Yes, I always wear an Ankh necklace, not just for fashion, but, here's why. Because hidden inside the necklace was a tiny blade. I used all the power I had and was able to stab one of them in the hand. He screamed and let go of me. I burst free from their clutches. I gave a right hook to the guy I stabbed and then a sliding side kick into the gut of the other guy. Luckily, they were impaired enough for me to run back towards Adelaide. I found her sitting on the ground in shock. "It's okay," I said. "They're gone." I could hear their van screeching off into the distance. "What or who was that?" she said. "Are you alright?" I asked as I helped her up. "Yeah, I'll be okay." "Wait," I said, "where's the bag?" We looked around. "What's the big deal about the bag?" she asked. "The alcohol, of course. We're gonna need it now." We both burst out laughing. She pointed and said, "Look, there." And in a bush nearby, it was caught between branches. I rescued the bag of booze and we headed back to the dorms. I kept an eye out for any other attackers. We made it back to my room and started drinking. We listened to maybe one jazz record and we heard a light knock on the door. It was Alice. She looked tired, more than drunk, and said she was ready to sleep. I let Adelaide tuck her in and was going through some records when I heard a noise in the hallway. My door was open and I went out to see. I went around the corner and came across 2 young guys who were creeping around the corner. I grabbed them by the collars. "What the hell are you doing here?" They froze with horror, and then one blurted out, Max Hercules sent us to cause trouble, you know." Well, on second thought, we're just gonna go. Come on, Todd." I let go of their collars and they fled quickly down the hall and out the door. As I walked back to the room, Adelaide was coming out of hers and asked what the commotion was. "Nothing," I said. "Just some punk kids sent by Max Hercules to cause some trouble, but I sent them packing." We settled into my room for a few hours to let Alice fall into a deep sleep, and then we would check on her. Unfortunately, just as Adelaide was starting to cozy up to me, we heard a noise from her room. We both sprung up off the floor and went into Adelaide's room. We could see Alice was having some kind of convulsions. They were right, this didn't look like a normal sleep paralysis. I ran back to my room, grabbed one of my books and my red astral lens glasses. When I went back into the room and put on my red glasses, I could see there was some kind of demonic form that had Alice's astral body in its clutches. The odd thing is, this demonic form looked different than I've seen before, almost as if it's a cloak, like an illusion of some kind. As I try to get its attention and get away from Alice's body, I notice that Adelaide is putting herself into a psychic trance to try and protect us, but it might be too late. I find the right words to capture the attention of the demonic beast, but as it turns to see me and then aggressively approaches, I find that I didn't prepare a spell or set any kind of trap to protect myself from attack. Whatever will we do? You guessed it. Here's another fine mess I've gotten myself into. Tune in for next week's episode of The Damned Saint. Until then, be true, be you, and be aware. There is no fate but what you create. I am the messenger, the Damned Saint.